Hey, what's up everyone? So today it is a pretty exciting video because we are going to talk about how the new Async Await API can integrate with SwiftUI. So of course, since I am talking about Async API, you know the drill. If you want to reproduce what you're going to see in this video, you need to use Xcode 13, which is now currently in beta, and your code will only be able to run on iOS 15, which is also in beta for now. So that being said, let's get started. So if I want to display some async data in SwiftUI, well, first I need to have some async function. So the choice I made for this video was to implement a network call that will request the API from the movie database. And this way, we will be able to use as an example something that resembles an actual application while being also, well, quite easy to implement. So first, I'm going to start by implementing this networking layer. So I'm going to begin by implementing, well, we could say my business object. So in that case, it's a movie. So it's what I'm going to display on my app. And you can see that there are a few fields that will be parsed from the response of the API. And there is one last thing that will be computed dynamically, and it will be the URL of the poster of the movie. And you can see that it is computed using a field of the API response and a base URL. And you can also see that since this struct will be decoding from a JSON, well, I have marked it as decodable, and I have also marked it as equatable and identifiable. We are going to see why just a little bit later. Now I'm going to introduce a second struct. So this second struct is called movie response, and as you can see, his goal is to map the result field from the response of the API to an array of movies. Then I'm going to actually implement the network call. So as you can see, in order to keep things simple, well, I have discarded a lot of error handlings. So first line, I am creating the URL to call. So you can see that there are two arguments. So the first argument is an API key. So it's a constant of my project. I've just put it in another file because, well, as you can imagine, I don't want you to see my personal API key. And then the second argument is a page because the API is paginated. Then using this URL, well, I make my network call. So as you can see, I am using an async function to make the network call, and you can see it because I am using the keyword await. From that network call, I get some data. I am decoding this data through a JSON decoder. And finally, I return the array of movies that has been decoded from the response. And you can see that this entire chunk of code is inside a do statement. And if there is an error, I just return an empty array. So that's it. We are done with the boring part of the video. The network layer has been implemented. Now we can actually focus on writing some SwiftUI code. So as you can see, I've already laid the foundation for my view. So my view will be holding an array of movies, and what the view will display will be a list of movies. And for each movie, well, I'm going to display for now the title and the overview. But as you can see, if I run my code in the simulator, for now, nothing is displayed because the array of movies is empty. So I need to have a way to fill this array with movies. And as you can expect, I'm going to want to use my function that makes the API call in order to retrieve my movies. And so the question is, where in this code am I going to perform my network call? Because, well, the initial idea could be to perform the call here, so to do something like this. But of course, it's not going to work because load movies is an async function. And as you know, we are not allowed to call async function from anywhere. And in that case, well, we are not allowed to call an async function to provide the default value of a property. So this is not a viable option. So we are going to have to make our call somewhere else. And the way to make that call is going to be to use a new modifier in SwiftUI. So in a SwiftUI view, there is a new modifier that is called task. And as you can see from the documentation, well, this is going to add a task that will be performed when the view appears. So it's very similar to the onAppear modifier, except that in this modifier, you are allowed to call async code. So I'm going to use this modifier, and inside the modifier, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to say, well, I want to make my network call and store the result in the variable movies. And so this time my code builds successfully because this time I am indeed allowed inside the modifier task to call an async function. And as you can see, if I run my code again, this time network call has indeed been performed, and we can see that our list has been populated with movie data. So we've seen the basic way to call an async function in SwiftUI, which is to do it through the task modifier. And as I've told you, task is very similar to onAppear, except that inside the code that you pass to task, you are allowed to call async function. And what's nice is that using this modifier leads to a very clean and simple call site. Okay, so now we are displaying indeed the title and the overview of the movie, but if you remember, we also add the data to display a poster of the movie. And it would be quite nice to load and display this poster because it will make our app look even better. So in order to load the image, I'm going to use a new type that was introduced in SwiftUI SwiftUI with iOS 15. So I'm going to paste in the code. And as you can see, this new type is called async image. So async image, you can see it as a way to load asynchronously an image from a URL. So the idea is that this time the image is not part of the bundle of the app. It needs to be loaded using the network. And you can see that the way that we use async image is a little bit different than the regular image because it's going to expect two closures. So in the first closure that will be called once the image has been loaded, we are able to manipulate the image. So this is where we are going to perform some resizing logic. And then there is a second closure called placeholder, and this closure is going to return the view to display while the image is loading. So here I am using a progress view in order to display a spinning wheel on the screen. And now if I relaunch my app, so as you can see, now the posters of the movies are indeed being displayed and they are being loaded dynamically using async image. So what's interesting is that, as you can see, not all of the images are being loaded. I'm actually not sure why it works like this. It might be a bug of async image, or it might be that I'm making, well, just too many network calls to the API. Actually, if you know the reason behind this bug, let me know in the comment, because on my side, I'm not quite sure what's happening here. Okay, so we've seen that using async code, we can now load the initial data of a view, and we can also load images asynchronously. But another use case in a view where asynchronous code is useful is if we want to implement a pull to refresh mechanism. So to have a mechanism, well, when we pull the view enough to the bottom, it's going to actually reload the data of the view. And what's nice is that with the new API of SwiftUI, it's also very easy to implement. And so the way to offer this pull to refresh behavior is just to implement the modifier called refreshable. Inside refreshable, it's actually similar to task. We are allowed to call async API. And so what I'm going to do inside refreshable is that I am once again going to call my API in order to get fresh data. And so as you can see, now that the modifier refreshable has been implemented, when I pull my view, I have the pull to refresh behavior that is happening. And so indeed, my data has been refreshed. So of course, nothing has changed on the screen because the API, while its data is not changing every second. So there are actually little chance that between the two calls, the data would have changed. But there is actually a very easy way to see visually that indeed, when I pull to refresh, the content of the refreshable modifier has been called, and it's to call shuffled on the result of my API call. This way, the content of the array that is returned by the API will be randomly shuffled. And so you can see now that, well, when I do a pull to refresh, the order of the element in my list has indeed been shuffled. And you might have also noticed that even though the order of the element have changed, their poster have not been reloaded again. And the reason for that is that the element of my array are identifiable. And so SwiftUI is able to understand that, well, the data in the array has not changed. It's just the order that has changed. And so SwiftUI is not going to re-render the row. It's just going to reorder them on the screen. And finally, there is one last use case I wanted to show you, and it's how we can integrate async API with SwiftUI to implement an infinite scroll. So an infinite scroll, the idea is that as we scroll to the bottom of our list, well, when we reach the end of the list, we want to load more data. So we are actually going to be able to implement this with our API, because if you remember, our API is paginated, meaning that when we reach the end of the list, well, we can just ask for the next page of data. So how are we going to implement this? Well, first, my view is going to have to keep track of which page to ask for. So I'm going to introduce a new state variable called current page, and I will initialize it with the value 1. Then the next step is to actually find where I'm going to perform the call to load the next page. And I'm actually going to do it by implementing the task modifier on each row of the list. Now, of course, as you can imagine, I don't want to load a new page for each row. I actually only want to do it for the very last row of the list. And the way that I'm going to do it is that I'm going to begin my modifier by implementing the test. I want to test that the current movie is equal to the last movie in this array. And by doing this, I am able to write code that will only execute when the last row is being displayed. And so all I have left to do is to implement the content of this if. So first, I'm going to increment the current page. And then what I'm going to do is that I'm going to load the next page of data. This will return me an array of movies, and I'm going to concatenate this new array with my existing array of movies. And that's it. Just by introducing this modifier and the current page variable, I have now implemented an infinite scrolling mechanism in my SwiftUI view. So now I'm going to once again relaunch my app. And as you can see now, as I scroll to the bottom of the list, you can see that more network calls are being made and the next pages of data are being loaded. and so I can keep scrolling up until the actual end of the list. So I'm going to reach it because at some point, well, there will be just no longer a page of data to query. So my network call will return an error. And remember that in my code, I said that if my network call throws an error, I just return the empty array. So this is what's happening right now. And this is what allows me to end my infinite scroll when there is no longer any data to load. And that's it. We've reached the end of this video. So as we've seen, it's actually very easy, very simple to integrate async API with SwiftUI. You basically just have to use the appropriate modifier like task and refreshable. And then inside this modifier, well, you just call your async API, you use the result to update your state variable, and that's it. Your SwiftUI view will be updated with the new data. And when you think about it and when you compare it to UIKit, it's actually quite impressive to see that with just a few lines of code, we've been able to implement a list that implements both asynchronous loading, pull to refresh, and infinite scrolling. And well, it's just thanks to these few lines of code. And of course, this code is much simpler than its UIKit counterpart. So personally, as you can imagine, I'm pretty excited about this new modifier, and I'm really looking forward to the kind of architecture that we'll be able to put together using these building blocks, because as you can see, well, we have everything we need to create something that will be really quite awesome. Thank you for watching this video, and see you next time.